cup with yellow pencils to see if they beg answers. Wait to see if they build nests and lay perfect, pale blue eggs, like the blue blade of an oar that softly penetrates the smooth skin of the open sea into which I place them, to see if they would somehow return to their birth water like salmon.
Beautiful.
So I can speak well for the Otter Creek Poets too. I've been going there at least 15 years. Does make you write. I haven't gotten any better, but no, I've gotten a lot better. I don't know how anybody can write good poetry by themselves after having been in this theater of somewhere between 45 and 50 poets that have gone in. They're not all there at the same time, but in and through the program.
Yeah, no, it's a really exceptional group.
And it's free.
And it's free.
Yeah, doesn't cost a dime. Just to get yourself there.
Well, thank you. I feel like I've been on several journeys with you with those poems. So our second reader is Susan Jefts. Susan has lived most of her life in Lake George and Saratoga Springs, New York, before returning to Vermont last year, where she went to college many moons ago. Was that Middlebury?
St. Michael's.
St. Michael's. She runs workshops using poetry as a tool for exploring life themes and our connections to nature, and also sometimes collaborates with musicians, setting her poetry to music. Her poetry has been published in numerous journals across the country, and she is currently working on her first full-length book of poetry. A clapping hand. Susan.
Thank you, Bea.
Thank you.
It's really fun to be here. I think it's my second time here. And I feel like I actually kind of live in Vermont now. So I guess I'll read three. They're fairly short. This is my newest poem. It's my first spring 2017 poem, which is always exciting to write the first spring poem. And it's called This Was No Ordinary Thing. I have a little footnote, second part of the title, that they ate the bulbs of tulips, which is from the title of a poem by Mark Wagoner called They Ate the Bulbs of Tulips. So I borrowed that line. This was no ordinary thing, that they ate the bulbs of tulips. And I knew it was spring finally in the Northeast. I felt a surge from inside, a sprouting in the soul almost, and there was the slow, full word of it, like here, like joy, like yes, from below the dantian, the wood element grown out of the root chakra until it finds water, feels the heart even, that they ate of something as unlikely and beautiful as tulips, and for their survival of something much worse than winter, and to be in a near frozen state for so long, whether of the body or the heart and mind, and to come out of it, to say, I love you, to the earth again, and to the air, and so many times, to be in these pre-emergent days of spring with so little to show, but small islands of ice floating toward the shore, in the thought of yarrow and clover pulsing in the fields. This is enough, to be here again at the start of something new in a world that's grown harsher now around the edges. Somehow today, this is enough. So this one is probably also a spring poem written several years ago, but now that I think about it, it might also be spring. It's called Returning to Earth or Rediscovering Neruda. It happened on a day I went first to the woods. It happened on a day I wore my blue scarf, bought a banana almond muffin, and drank shade-grown coffee from Brazil. When I thought about my conversation with A last night at the cafe, images of rocks and roots came forth, but also a bird in flight. It happened on the day I finished my taxes. It happened between one thing and another, a book about the soul and a poem about things, shoes and metal, tobacco smoke and salt. Many things conspired to tell me the whole story, wrote Neruda. Not only those things that leap and climb, desire and survive. There are so many, the brass knob of the door, the ink on the paper, the fibrous thread of the book, the stone tablets in the park. It's the way they sing, it's the way they stay still. So now it seems I can't say enough about things, how they connect me to a string in my body that binds me to my soul, how every feeling now is a stone or a book, tobacco smoke or salt. And this one I had to read because it has April in the title. And I guess spring has become my favorite season. Used to be fall. So this is called A Cello in April. The moan of a cello in April, movement from under the earth, dark sound beneath the city, and outside a tree stands and listens. Outside a tree stands and people pass by the place where the cello moans deeply from under the earth, slowly rises into a place where someone stops to listen, where the cello begins to breathe and earth holds and releases, where earth holds and releases, and the vibrato hovers and reaches, and the cello moans and rises like a dark bird in flight, low just over the city that sits at the edge of a wood, where the trees begin to alight, and the forest hums and sighs at the rise of a cello in April and the dark bird in flight. Thank you.
Oh. Wonderful. Thank you, Susan. Your attention to every day is like making me think there are so many miracles that we sort of forget to see. It's really great. So our next reader is Marshall Witten. Marshall has some books here, recently published. He's a retired lawyer living in Shaftesbury. For the last 10 years, he has happily written formal verse about Vermont, his life experiences, and what he and his dogs see on their morning walks. He's just published a chapbook, Reflections on Change. Please welcome Marshall Witten.
Thank you, Bea. I'm going to read 4 short poems. They're all in blank verse. The first 3 are sonnets, and the first one is had its origin in Addison County, and it's entitled Second Mowing. It's been an August week of cloudless skies. The farmer's mowing fills the air with strong, sweet smells of fresh-cut hay. The fields are patterned with tedded, curving rows along the rolling terrain like dreadlocks, waiting for the sun to dry the crop. The baler swallows lines like a conveyor belt, non-stop spitting out cylinders 600 pounds apiece. The smells and measured order of this scene suggest complete mastery of the land. Yet the farmer gambles with the gods' dice, faces pestilence, drought, tempest, insect, market, costs. Sisyphean bargain, endless labor, performed quietly in these regions east of Eden. The second one is you write a poem sometimes when things happen. This one happened. It's called Halloween Owl. On Halloween, he flew into my window. I did not hear the awful crunching thud. I only saw the eerie image, face and wings, his powder left upon my pane, when sun's illuminating breath revealed this apparition. Huge, round, hollow eyes, unseeing, stared blankly. No threat to mice, unnerving to me this day when dead souls wander. Coincidence can seem like planned design and often drives imagination wild. The owl I know was just a bird, confused by light, transparency beyond his lure. He was unlucky, wild in mankind's world. The ghost I thought I saw was just his epigraph. This one, many of you may have had a similar experience. It's called The Last Time. Today, Louis failed to make the jump up to the window seat. He flopped ungainly to the floor and did not try once more. I would not see him on that perch again. I wonder what he thought of the abrupt failure of his strength. Surprise? Questioning? I notice how he stands there looking up. Is he remembering sun's warmth? The sight of birds and squirrels? He does not seem to hear as well or bark at strangers anymore. I dread his further losses, weighing when it's time somewhere along his sad decline. I watch it all and deeply feel my sighs and know that every living creature dies. The last one's a little more upbeat. It's a story. It's titled Mimi, and I'll tell you a little about Mimi. Mimi turned heads with her blue eyes, fair skin, high cheekbones, glistening raven black straight hair, audacious red lip ice, athletic build. She married Bob, Ford dealer, state senator. He was always busy away raising money. She stayed home alone, raising children. His third campaign, August heat, humidity, election rally at the Equinox Hotel. The governor featured speaker. The room's French doors opened onto a patio and outdoor swimming pool, lighted outdoor swimming pool. Mimi's scarlet cocktail mini sheath stood out among the others' dowdy dresses. The event droned on and on. The governor began his speech, and Mimi got up slowly. She left the head table, walked through the room, out the French doors to the pool. All eyes followed her. Chairs turned as she shook off her shoes, stood on the diving board, and began bouncing up and down. As if on a trampoline, thumping hard with every jump. Would she dive, or would she slip and splash? Her drama held the audience until, at last, she stepped down smoothly, scooped up her shoes, and slowly strolled away, hips waving goodbye.
Is this a true event? Oh, come on, tell us the rest of who is this person? Come on up here. We just have to, it was someone in Vermont?
Oh, yes.
Was her name really Mimi?
Yes.
Is this a guessing game? How long ago? Give us a clue.
It was a long time ago. I think Phil Hoff was the governor. But
You can't reveal? Is the person still alive?
no,
Couldn't you reveal?
Mimi's dead. Bob is dead.
Oh, so can't you tell us who she was?
She was Mimi.
Well, you certainly took us around the world and back, you with all those poems. Thank you. Thank you, Marshall. I'm looking forward to your book, because I haven't been able to pick it up yet. Okay, so our next reader is Roma Mortensen, raised in Cornwall, Vermont, writing poetry a long time. Didn't think of publishing until joining the Otter Creek Poets. It's a dangerous move. Where she learned the skills of writing and got great encouragement. She has a book at a publisher's, The Unclear Pool of Remember, which I just love that title, and is currently working on Rumby Bear, a children's book about a baby bear who finds she can be brave. She's also writing about loves of a lifetime, and will read from this tonight. So let's welcome Roma Mortensen.
I'm going to read 4 poems tonight, and they're all a little bit love gone sort of stuff. So, the first one. At the stoplight, I lift the scarf you left on my dashboard, bunch it against my nose, inhale the last week we spent together. Purple asters, summer blossoming into fall, evening walks, conversations I have with no one else. Car horn, I rubber band back, drop the scarf, step on the gas, green light through a previous life I thought would shape forever. Valentine quandary. Forgive me for not sending you something. I have not found a card large enough to contain the love I knew in you, who held me tenderly, who saw a loose end in me I had long forgotten, part of my life, bending around my heart I had tucked away. Say what you will about the doubt I have concerning my abilities, a sea that is more often flame than water to soothe the soul. No card. Will my scarred line suffice? A weave and guess at warp and weft until I become a blanket you can snuggle under in the dark, a spark too gentle about your form when the wind blunders into your house and breathes of bones? Or will I let you guess about New Year's night? Not write, not call, no utterance of sigh that says, I love you. Enough. Sun plans the morning, 4 crows circle wide, fly west. American Indians look within place. I won't give Tim a hard time today. Divorce lawyer, 10:30, rescheduled from 9. Tim never liked to get up early. Found plenty of reasons to work late. Home early evenings from Mike's car care. He never smelled the barbecue chicken, the fresh rolls, the apple pie. No, his hello had flair. Get this painting junk out of the way. Vase and apple, that looks stupid. A sick pole and a sloppy baseball, or his hand. Sun peeks up, 3 more crows, glinting shiny, like black leaves with wings, fly west. the dreaming wisdom place. Down the hall a snore shatters stillness. Children, Amy and Timothy, now both in college, 21 years, 9 months, yes, I'll sign. Had enough of that man. Wishes and memories. One gray day in Paris, with a handful of wishing well change held in my pocket too long, I throw lovers away. Those who never fulfilled my hunger those who never fulfilled my hunger to have life created in me, to have love last a lifetime. And those I disappointed. Gorgeous, funny, brave souls who touched my hand and more, then left for pastures with less fences. In hand I balance pennies from wheat to Lincoln Memorial and launch what-ifs into the fountained pool. Coins splashed in darkened water, leather jackets, suits slough off. Signed with love letters and bad poetry, suck up water and dissipate. Wishes and memories dribble to the bottom. I walk away.
Every one of your poems brought up something in my past some of which have made it into poems. It's pretty interesting. It'd be interesting to have a poetry reading just about love's found and lost. Oh, that's funny. Okay, Ann Cooper is our next poet. She moved to Middlebury almost 30 years ago, about the time she stopped writing. That was before Otter Creek, you see, that was the problem. Being mostly retired now as editor, historian, and consultant to nonprofits, has created a scope for her reawakened and insistent muse. Let's welcome Ann Cooper.
So stop me if I go on too long, but I had planned to read 5 short poems.
Okay, that's fine.
The first one is the first poem I read when the muse knocked on the door after 30 years. It's called In Mexico. In Mexico, boys jump from unimaginable rocky heights into wave-fed ocean pools, dismissing the danger of other rocks below. Once they jumped because that's what boys did there, then, emerging from the water shining with joy, having survived the dare. Now it is still what boys do, as tourists, soul-stealing cameras to their eyes, gasp and clap, toss coins, amazed at tempting death so eagerly. And I, daring the climb, stay back, fear negating the lure of wide horizons, the potential thrill of safety after risk, feeling before it happens, before it might, the danger. As willfully or dizzied by the height, I enter emptiness, possibility dying on the rocks below as dreams become delusions. Soliloquy. As I sit meditating, hands open, trying to empty my head of thought, my mind, unruly still, turns to my dishwasher. To rinse or not to rinse? When it was new, it handled everything. Old now, like me, it needs a little help to do the job. A rinse, a wipe, some anti-spotting goo to make all spotless, sparkling, ready to be put away. Aye, there's the rub. Why's putting back a chore when, organized now as is the putting in, which no one does as well as I, It takes no time, just minutes. Flatware first, then plates, then from the upper rack, cups, glasses, plastic bowls. No time at all to put them where they stay, sometimes just minutes, until they're used again. Hope. Hope is the thing with feathers, Emily Dickinson wrote, and so many after her agreed, implying that hope flies around or floats in the air, creating hope for hope, visible if not always accessible. That doesn't work for me. When Pandora, like Eve, through defiant curiosity, loosed unhappiness upon the world, hope remained at the bottom of the box, where on days, in years like these, I fear it still remains. On contemplating a healing sore. Think of a factory going 24/7, lights ablaze, machines making, managers, computers controlling, men, women working, as goods are produced and money made. That energy lights cities and sends rockets to the moon. Then think of me, home to millions of bacteria, miles of guts and capillaries, heart beating, lungs pumping, eyes blinking, blood carrying in constant cycle raw materials and waste, all functioning without my will, even as I sleep. Not to mention digestion, inspiration and dull routine, washing dishes, paying bills, conversation and TV, while processing the 1,000 thoughts and worries that form the forefront of my life and the background of my dreams. On my arm, this little sore scabs over, fades, and heals.